Today? Yes, today. We're going back to Lithuania. Let's talk about it.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. It is I, your host, Damon Fairall, aka Damon Dog, with my guy, Kevin Thomas, aka Kevo Post, right here at PHNX HQ3 in downtown Phoenix. And of course, it is a lively and poppin' Monday here, Kevin, as we have plenty of news to get into today, as the weekend brought some big news of sorts, as we keep getting into what is Arizona going to do to fill out the rest of their roster. They bring in yet another Lithuanian player and keep that connection strong. Man, do we have to find a way to get Kevin boots on the ground in Lithuania eventually. But, also some big news in the world of college football and the trickle-down effect that that's going to have on the Arizona football program in particular, with Brendan Sorsby somehow, some way being ruled eligible to play this upcoming college football season. Absolutely wild stuff. We're going to be getting into both the addition of Maksim Brnovic. Did I get that right? Brnovic?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that as of yet.
Sure.
I've been going with Brnovic.
Dude, the Lithuanians are really throwing us for a ride.
He's Montenegrin by way of Lithuania. You know what I mean? So I don't even know. Do Montenegrins have complex names? I guess so. They must, right? I don't know. I don't have his 23andMe on me. You know what I mean? To what is the John Smith?
So he's playing in Lithuania, but he's Montenegrin.
Yes. Tommy Lloyd went over there to Lithuania, saw this Montenegrin playing, and said that guy needs to be a cat, 100%. And you know what? Right, we're gonna get into him in a little bit, but there are some pretty fun Arizona ties to Maksim Brnovic or Brnovic. I don't know what the proper way to pronounce it is as of yet. So if we have a linguist in the chat, let us know. But Damon, before we get to the big news of the weekend, there is some news that I think we need to talk about off the top of the show, right? You have something that you need to get off of your chest, right? And I will give you the floor here in a moment to do that, but I will set you up by saying, as Damon alluded to off the top of the show, Brendan Sorsby is back at Texas Tech, and he is back in college football despite thousands upon thousands of bets placed from his sports gambling account. And now, this podcast is not here to necessarily virtue signal and be like, oh, gambling, how could he? Right? I used to gamble all the time. Damon still does gamble, right? So it's not like we're about to be up here firing him off just because he gambled. However, he did do the gambling. And now that probably means he should no longer be allowed to do the playing as per, the rules of the sport for forever. You're not supposed to bet on the teams or the sport that you play in because you might have some proprietary information that is unfair to other bettors. And also, it calls into question the legitimacy of your performance and other teams and other players' performances on your team. Because just because Sorsby was not playing in some of the games that he bet on when he was in Indiana does not mean that I'm not saying that this happened, allegedly, but I'm saying it doesn't mean he could not have gone to someone and said, hey, I had this on the game, right? That just because he's not playing in the game does not mean he cannot have an effect on the game.
Correct.
And I think that is something that's kind of been lost in all this. Justin Spears tweeted out, earlier, and I, stole the words right out of my brain, because my first reaction when I saw this morning, Damon, was 1, Lubbock, Texas was where the judge is from, and 2, Pete Rose, one of the MLB's, and you would know better than me as a baseball guy yourself, Pete Rose, one of the best hitters of all time to ever play the game of baseball. Not in the Hall of Fame, though. Damon, why is Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame?
Because he was gambling on the sport.
Oh, okay. So gambling on the sport left a black mark, a scarlet A on his career that he could never quite shake. Somewhat legitimately, and some could argue it's been taken a little bit too far, especially in the modern era of where sports is at with gambling companies and things. But yeah, if Brendan Sorsby can play, as that's going to leave a mark, says in the chat, Pete Rose still a Hall of Fame because gambling no longer matters, I guess, in terms of when you're gambling on the sport that you play. Damon, how do you feel about it? I know you probably have more feelings on this than even I do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really just kind of at a loss for words, Kevin, with this entire situation. It's truly baffling when you're thinking about the idea that this is something that would get approved or kind of superseded the actual NCAA bylaws and ways in which that they run the organization through the court system itself. And I do want to clarify something because I also was somewhat duped by the Pete Thamel report, which I think was kind of, I don't want to throw dirt on his name because he's a really good reporter, but like, I think he purposefully set his tweet up to cause a rise out of people when the information that he reported on was not really entirely accurate. Pete Thamel said that a Lubbock County judge approved the decision. A Lubbock County judge actually stepped down from
he
ruling
himself,
on this.
Right?
He recused himself because he was a Texas Tech grad, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he was.
And so he stepped down from this to allow another judge to take over the proceedings. And the judge that got brought in was a Tarrant County judge, which is based out of Fort Worth. That's where their court is. This is a guy who went to Houston. He was a Houston grad, and he works out of Fort Worth, and he was the one that approved Brendan Sorsby to playing. So I won't go as far to say that this is as scummy local politics like maybe it was portrayed as at first, because that is what they were trying to show to the people, right?
Yeah.
And after I explain that to you, doesn't that seem a little bit kind of messed up and shady from a big time ESPN reporter to kind of be putting information in there that's not entirely accurate? I don't know. So that's where I'll say from an objective standpoint, it was not a Lubbock County judge that was ruling on this. That being said, this is still a really messy, dirty, gross, slimy situation.
Mm-hmm.
No other way of putting it. Apparently, this judge's son-in-law went to Texas Tech. So I've heard that very loosely. I don't know that to be a confirmed fact, but I've heard that this judge's son-in-law is a Texas Tech grad. So it's not like there's zero connection to Texas Tech here. It's not like there's no benefit to this judge for allowing Brendan Sorsby to play. What I don't understand though is that and I think that this is where everybody is at with the situation, Kevin. And you can maybe, if your mind goes to a different place, let me know where what you think the trickle down of this is going to be. But what's the precedent that is being set right here? Does the NCAA hold no power whatsoever anymore? Because this feels like a pretty cut and dry black and white case for what we're talking about. And yet we're just straight up going to allow the fabric of the sport to be kind of put up to pasture, put up for I'm trying to think of the right wording for it. It's on the fence right now. No, this is not chill. This is not cool. Brendan Sorsby committed one of the biggest infractions that you possibly could commit. And, even if he wasn't betting against his team, which is, I think, number one, you don't want to see that, right? Like you said with Pete Rose, there's rumors that Pete Rose bet against his team, but I think that all that's been confirmed is that he bet on his team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Texas Tech fans are using that as a shield for Brendan Sorsby of well, he bet on his team. What do you want him to do? But that's insider trading.
Yes.
That's the definition of insider trading.
Yes.
And I have a Texas Tech fan, Kevin, telling me today on Twitter, which is, people will say anything on Twitter, that it's not insider trading because he didn't profit off of it. That's not how insider trading works. Insider trading is about finding insider information and utilizing that to exploit the market in whatever sense that you deem is exploitable.
But Damon, it didn't work. Who cares?
Just by looking at Brendan Sorsby's all-time betting slips and saying, well, he's actually in the net negative.
Yeah.
That doesn't recuse him from using insider information on these bets.
If I go to shoot Damon, in GTA, if I go to shoot Damon in Grand Theft Auto, right, and I miss, the cops are still going to come after me for an attempted murder. I don't get off the case just because I missed Damon. I still get charged with something. You know what I mean? You did something that should be punished, regardless of whether you got the win for your perspective or not. Right? I don't know. I'm with you on that. It just sets an awful precedent.
Let's throw up my tweet here, Kevin, when, in regards to what you're saying right there. I said earlier today when I woke up and found out about this whole situation and started reading about it, I'm trying to wrap my head around how committing a serious infraction is allowed as long as you have an addiction claim that goes hand in hand. Imagine if the real world was like that, Kevin, where, you're getting pulled over because you're swerving across multiple lanes on the 202. And, when you get pulled over, when the lights come on, the cop walks up to you and you say, "Sorry, sir, I'm addicted to crack cocaine. And I actually just smoked it before I got into the car. Can you blame me? I have an addiction. Don't send me to jail. This isn't my fault." And then the officer saying, "Yeah, you know what? You're right.
I feel bad for you, kid.
I didn't realize that you had an addiction that went hand in hand with that." Connor and I are talking. Connor Cox here of PHNX Sports. He's talking to me. He's like, "I can't just go take my clothes off and run around downtown Phoenix. I'd be arrested. It doesn't matter what my addiction is or what I have going on in my personal life. That's a crime that you're committing. And this is a crime. This is a legitimate crime. It's not just a crime against the NCAA. It's a crime in general. It's insider trading. It's absolutely unbelievable that this is the precedent that's been set, that this is a decision that has been come to. We were talking about on this show, like, I can't see a world where Brendan Sorsby plays football next season.
Yeah, no.
Good for U of A. Means that the conference is wide open. Wrong? Because apparently you can do whatever you want as long as you have money backing you. As long as you have a guy like Cody Campbell who's prepared to pay billions of dollars, you're going to be perfectly fine. Because, there's just, I don't want to just, sit there and just come up with false accusations, but you can't tell me that there's nothing shady going on here. You can't tell me that, there's been zero contact between this judge and Cody Campbell. Maybe not directly, but, through indirect, proxies of, making the situation play out and getting it sorted beforehand. Because if you're truly looking at it from an objective sense, it's absolutely, unbelievable that this is the result of the entire situation. I truly can't understand it. As Glenn says, I think there has to be serious consideration about Big 12 teams, taking them off their schedule. If you're Brett Yormark, that's where I'll throw it to you, Kevin. And if you're Brett Yormark, how do you handle this situation?
You handed me the loaded gun right there. That was crazy.
There's 15 teams that are PO'd, man.
Look, and rightfully so, because I think, I maybe our guy Saul tweeted this. I'm seeing, obviously, a lot of tweets about Brendan Sorsby today, but I think our guy Saul tweeted this one, and I totally agree. Of, I could really, and I'm going somewhere with this, so give me a second. I could really give a damn what happens to Brendan Sorsby in all of this, right? Whether he has to go to the supplemental draft or whether he gets to play at Texas Tech or whatever. The real issue here is this decision sets an awful precedent going forward, because now you can have players betting on games, betting on their team, as long as they're betting for their team, right? And now if they go even further than Sorsby, it does give them some, I'm not a lawyer, right? Call out the husband and wife law team. Maybe we can get their consultancy on this, but I would assume that, let's say I am a player for, I don't want to say U of A because we don't do that here. Let's say I'm a player for Appalachian State, right? Or something like that. And I'm betting on Appalachian State to win the conference. And, I'm betting on our team to win this game. And I'm betting on our opponents to lose that game. And I'm betting on, tennis. And I'm betting on baseball. And I'm betting on college stuff. And I'm betting on cricket. Let's say I go even further than Sorsby. Let's say next time I bet against my team and I'm playing, right? I would assume that there is some sort of now legal foothold that player would have to say, well, Sorsby was allowed to play. And let's maybe say he made more bets than me. And I just made one really ill-advised bet, and I've gone to counseling and I've gone through therapy. Why not let me play and collect my bag? I'm not a lawyer, but I would assume that this Sorsby thing gives them legal precedence, footholds for maybe worse grievances down the line. So if I'm Brett Yormark, to answer your question, if I'm Brett Yormark, I don't know what the legalese is.
I don't know what authority he holds here, to be honest with you.
I would assume there is a legally binding contract between Sorsby and Texas Tech that does say he is to play this season and get paid a certain amount of money. I'm sure there's guarantees in this contract for certain other things, maybe NIL related. I don't know what the behavioral asterisks in that contract are. I don't know what the qualifications are. What violates that contract? I don't know. But I will say this much, if I'm Brett Yormark, I definitely am heavily encouraging Texas Tech to not let this guy play, right? I don't know what power he has to make roster decisions over teams and say, no, you can't play this guy or you have to take them off the schedule or whatnot. But I would say that I would heavily encourage the AD at Texas Tech, to maybe you use some mafioso stuff and say, hey, if you want some benefits down the line, you're not going to get those if you let Brandon Sorsby play this year. You know what I mean? I don't know what power he has, but he has to wield some sort of power here to make sure that this does not really cast a huge shadow over this upcoming Big 12 football season. Because if we're going to talk football and on-field stuff, I'm not even sure Brennan Sorsby is going to be Brennan Sorsby next year. This is a huge distraction when you're going into a bigger environment. You're going with more expectations, even higher scrutiny now. You're getting paid a ton of money. You're the legal case that set precedent in this historic fashion. I'm not sure that that's not a huge distraction. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even the biggest he's going to be distracted and not play well guys. Some guys benefit from that. Some guys don't. And I think this is a situation where if you're just trying to play football and everyone's asking you about your addiction and how therapy went and how rehab went, again, this is just me talking as a podcast host who does not know Brennan Sorsby, right? Let's just say Sorsby is trying to game the system, which is, again, theoretically possible of his lawyer's telling him, hey, man, your only way out of this is to go to therapy and say you have an addiction.
That's 100% what
right?
his lawyer
And he's
told
like,
him.
oh, dude, I was just trying to hang out with the guys and rip some bets, and I don't really need rehab. You know what I mean? And then he goes, and now everyone's treating you like an addict.
Did you see the rehab, though?
No.
You didn't see it.
See it? What do you mean see it?
People were posting pictures of the rehab a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it was like a Swedish jail?
The rehab facility that he went to. Kevin, it was in Arizona. I want you to look it up live on air and
I knew that.
Find it for me right now.
Sorsby.
Goodyear Rehab. Just and give us a live reaction as to what we're looking at as Brennan Sorsby gets himself an Airbnb for 2 weeks and chills in the Arizona, spring weather by the pool, and then comes back to Texas Tech like nothing ever happened.
That's a nice little facility.
It's a shocking rehab center. Over there. Yeah, it's just a house.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to feel like I'm in jail if I was in rehab. To be fair,
I mean, but brother, it's straight up just a house that you would get on Verbo and say oh well, me and the boys are gonna have a hell of a weekend this weekend. Sorsby probably brought his crew out and was like, hey, let's go gamble on games while we watch them poolside in Arizona. I'm paying. Everybody's in, right? And can you bet for me because I'm not really allowed to be doing that anymore? Make sure just toss an extra $10 on it. It'll be chill, I promise. There are other precedents though that have been set in the past of college players betting on stuff that is not even their sport, and they're getting suspended. They're getting in trouble. Yet when this guy bets on his own team, somehow he's allowed to play. Glenn made another comment in here that I thought only an SEC team could get away with it. Isn't that kind of the problem with Texas Tech right now, though? Is that they're acting and operating as if they're an SEC team with the money that is being thrown around, with the NIL resources, and with the discrepancy that there is between them and the rest of the Big 12 conference, their competition. They are operating in a sense of we are going to take advantage of this system while we can and outspend people. It seems clear as day that they're getting away with it because they're willing to spend money on it. And again, I don't, this is a totally made up thing, but I would be shocked if Cody Campbell was not in contact with the people that were making these decisions in some way, shape, or form, making this be the result of the case. There's something nefarious going on here. There's zero question in my mind about it. And if you're a Texas Tech fan and you're defending this, you're an embarrassing loser. Genuinely. You're embarrassing. So, be a real person. Call out this kind of stuff when it's happening. Because I know damn well, Kevin, that if this was a U of A thing, me and you would both be up here being like, this is not really cool.
I was just about to say, the real human, I think, reaction if you are a Texas Tech fan would be ooh, I'm pumped. That means we get Sorsby back.
Our season's back on.
I don't necessarily think this is good for the sport, but for the next season, we lit, baby.
Totally.
It benefits me. We're good.
Totally.
And
you
I think that's
happy that you have your quarterback in a way, but you should also be able.
That it's bad.
You also got to admit that this is horrible for the NCAA and the long-term health of the sport. I see people talking about the NCAA. This is the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
This is the true death of the NCAA. Of they have no power. They can do nothing to stop these people from playing, deem people ineligible. They'll get beaten every court case that they go into, essentially, when it comes to player power versus the NCAA. And this could be the time where we see the NCAA fold and a new, entity kind of rise up and take over this authoritative process of governing college sports. Because this is truly it's just baffling, and I really can't understand how this decision was made by adults who are supposed to be objective in this kind of thing.
I'll wrap this one up by saying this. Like, you are literally describing a real conversation that I had with our guy Erickson earlier. His producer Erickson, shout out to him in the Suns podcast, of like, he reads the news and he's like, Kevin, is this true? Sorsby's going to be able to play? And I'm like, yeah, it is. He goes, so does the NCAA literally just have no power over their own sport? And I think I did that exact motion. I go, none. They got none. And every time they get sued, they lose. Or every time they sue, they lose. It's just, they got no power, and they can make all the rules they want, but they can't enforce just about not a goddamn one of them. So,
well, Baker's coming out, Kevin, in his statement and being like, the government has to get involved. Like, that was straight up what the NCAA is going to now.
Big brother, please help me.
Dude,
I cannot defend myself.
They're past like trying to like fix it themselves, because I think they realize right now they have no power. So they're literally asking Congress to step in and fix the situation, which seems like the only chance that we have, of making sure that Brendan Sorsby isn't going to kind of, destroy the fabric of the game at its core.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's enough time left to make that, decision get levied down and like put into process, versus when college football season is 3 months from now. Like, it doesn't seem like there's enough time there for the government to step in and rule him ineligible. But it's absolutely ridiculous, man. I genuinely, like, I can't wrap my head around the lack of repercussions for people that are clearly doing things that are not cool, not chill. Like, I don't care if you have a problem. Well, I mean, I do. Like, we'll help you fix the problem, but I don't care in relation to
your punishment.
Punishment. Yeah. Like, you don't just skate by with things because you have things that are like holding you back or that you're addicted to. Like, if we did that, Kevin, we should just like unload the prisons. You know what I mean? A lot of those people have addictions to different things.
Very true.
That's why they are oftentimes committing crimes to do those things and get put in jail, get put in prison.
Sure, so true.
Should it be the purge? Like, is that what we're doing in this country? It's the purge now. You can do whatever you want. It's absolutely wild. It's so mind-blowing to me that this is what the decision that has been made here. I actually just can't understand it. It's hard for me to speak English. Like, what am I doing up here? What are any of us doing in life, Kevin? It doesn't matter. If you're connected and you know people and you have people in your corner with money and power, they're gonna help skate you by and get you out of it. Don't worry. You could do whatever you want. It's perfectly fine. We'll get you out of it. We have billions.
Yeah. No.
This is just such a microcosm of everything that's happening in society right now, where it's just like, well, do you know someone rich and powerful? Don't worry about it, Brendan. Go take a nice little Airbnb vacation in Arizona. We'll get you back on the football field, brother. What a joke, man. What a joke.
It is a real joke. We're going to try to cool Damon off. We're going to try to get Damon to at least enjoy the next hour of real life. We're going to go back out into the real world. But we are going to talk some Arizona basketball and the news of the weekend. Coming up after this, stick around, leave a like, do not go anywhere. This is not a joking matter. I really did see a bad accident on the highway this weekend, and it caused a ton of traffic. And I'm sitting there in traffic thinking, what is going on? And you get up there and you see an accident and you're wondering, I just hope that those people, first of all, are safe. And if they're not, if they're not injured, or if they are injured, I hope that they get a lawyer and make sure that their persons are getting held accountable properly for that. And if you've been involved in a serious injury, I hope you're calling this number, 602-783-8841. And when you do call that number, you're going to reach the husband and wife law team, Mark and Alexis Breyer. And this law team is not just a group of lawyers. No, this is a group of full-blown specialists, Damon. And why are they specialists? Because they've gone through the Arizona State Bar and got that certification as specialists in serious injury and wrongful death. Only less than 1% of all lawyers that get certified by the Arizona State Bar can say that, but Mark and Alexis Breyer can make that claim. And they'll also make a couple other guarantees to you as their client that you have the right, that they will also discuss the strengths and the weaknesses of your case. So yeah, maybe if you were involved in a serious accident, but your case is not maybe merit going to trial, they're going to let you know that up front. So they're not just cashing checks. You know what I mean? They're actually helping people out. So if you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first, 602-783-8841, or visit the website in our show notes below and let them know PHNX sent you on over.
let's talk about the absolute staple. You see it right here, the logo, the brand, hashtag the brand, hashtag the circle. Circle K, America's thirst stop. Of course, it's where I'm stopping to get all of my caffeine pick-me-ups. Kevin, I went down to the greatest city on earth, Tucson, Arizona, this past weekend.
Thanks for the invite, bro.
And on my way down and my way back up, I am stopping specifically at the Toltec Road Circle K location because I know that they have the cheapest gas in Phoenix, in Tucson, in between of anywhere. And I'm trying to save the most money as possible. Circle K is helping you do so. I'm an Inner Circle Rewards member. I plug in my phone number at the gas pump, Kevin, and I'm saving 5 cents off per gallon on every single gallon that I fill up with because I'm a premium member. I have premium status. No big deal. Hold some weight around here with the Inner Circle Rewards membership program. It's so easy to sign up for, and it's so easy to hit that premium status. You'll save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups at the tank. Then you'll save 3 cents off per gallon every time you fill up until you hit premium status like myself, and you'll start saving 5 cents off per gallon. Guys, get involved in these gas savings right now because we all know how expensive gas has gotten. It is the only time to sign up for these Inner Circle Rewards membership program. Do so today by downloading that free Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details.
Welcome back to the AZ Wildcats podcast, where right now we are discussing Arizona's reported newest signing. I believe it was Mike Luke, I think the only guy out here this past weekend that was reporting that Maksim Brnovic, or Brnovic, or pronunciation unbeknownst to me, is going to be the next Arizona signee. It started out with Arizona being linked to him by Mike Luke, and then Mike Luke put out that it was done, dusted. He's a Wildcat and he's signed. We're still waiting on like other reports for that, like in terms of the announcement from Arizona that he is officially signed. But it has been rumored that this is the next Arizona Wildcat, Maksim Brnovic. We already mentioned he is an 18-year-old Montenegrin who currently plays in Lithuania for Žalgiris Kaunas. Now, he plays for their junior team. Would you like to venture a guess as to who is on the senior team for Žalgiris Kaunas?
I'm going to guess is Julius Tabelis.
Ding, ding, ding. The top player for Arizona in the 2020s, if you listen to clickbait accounts on Twitter.
Come on, bro. That's your guy.
No, it's not my guy. Come on.
College Basketball Report?
Yeah, it's not my guy.
I swear he follows you.
Well, I think I follow that account.
He be quoting you and stuff all the time.
Oh, I don't know about that. But I do know I do follow that account. But I have seen like so many graphics
Kevin's
from them where
army that
like,
he's amassing is quite special.
Where it's just like that account does do some clickbait, I think. But it is hard to do picks for literally every school. But
yeah,
if you
no doubt. You don't watch every team, but like also like to be in the comments arguing like, well, he was a second team All-American, and it's like that's your analysis.
We got eyes, brother.
He put up really good counting stats in the Pac-12 and like folded against top tier competition, and so that's the best player that we've had in the 2020s. Like it's absolutely. Like I tweeted, Kevin, I think I could get to like 7 dudes before I named Brendan Sorsby. Not even, or Brendan Sorsby, sorry. Rent-free. Before I got to Julius Tabelis.
Yeah, man.
Like genuinely, off the top of my head, you know, and you can disagree with these guys if you think so. I'll name who I was thinking of. Ben Matherin.
Yep. Agreed.
Braden Burries.
Agreed.
Jaden Bradley.
Agreed.
Caleb Love.
Agreed.
And then personally, I think Koa Pete is a better player, because I value defense and what you do on the biggest stage versus putting up scrub numbers against Oregon State and then losing in the first round of the tournament. Give me the guy who is the West region's most outstanding player. I was just about to say that.
I think that's the main argument for Koa Pete. 100%. Is he has a most outstanding regional player in the tournament award in his closet.
And Julius Tabelis, when he was given the keys to the program, got us the Princeton locks.
Yeah.
That was what he gifted us.
Yeah.
And so I'm putting Koa Pete over him. I'm putting even, I think, with them returning, and again, this is before this season, so, you know, barring any sort of significant injury or anything, I think Krivas and Karchenkov both coming back put them above Tabelis, considering that they have the Final Four under their belt. They have great seasons. They both are fantastic defensive players.
About to go in the top 25 of this.
And then they're going to come back another season and add to their legacy.
Pelle Larsson?
I would even put Pelle Larsson above Julius Tabelis, who played an extra year, who was, you know, in my opinion, a better, more valuable player, a player that I definitely would rather have. So, like, no disrespect to Tabelis. He was a great player, second-team All-American, and, you know, definitely for a lot of programs would be absolutely their best player. over the course of the 2020s. But at Arizona, man, I think that shit is just disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could name you almost 2 teams worth of guys that I'd rather have than Azuolas Tubelis. No offense, great player, just crazy list. But yes, sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent.
No, I wanted to talk about that today. So
I thought it was interesting.
I'm glad we got a little bit on it because I didn't want to do a full 10 on it, but that was good. And I will say there's another Arizona connection, I think more applicable to maybe why we end up landing with a Maksim Brnovic in the first place. And when I say end up landing, I don't mean like a consolation prize, but I will say Brnovic is U18 teammates with, guess who, man? Big Mo. Motiejus Krivas has a little brother, Gabrielius. I don't know. Dude, these names have me in a blender. But Mo Krivas' little brother plays for the U18 team with Maksim Brnovic.
Dude, when we have the Waka Krivas front court in 3 years, that's going to be unbelievable.
We have it again in 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. When we're going back to the Final Four with the Awaka Krivas center rotation, just not the guys that you thought that it was. They're different Awakas, different Krivases.
Mm-hmm. I will say, though, as Glenn put in the chat, some good chats today from you. Glenn, 18 is better than 23, and that is true. We have been in the market for a lot of older, more veteran players, it feels like, this offseason. However, this guy is 18 and 19 days old, 18 years and 19 days old today, meaning he wouldn't even be 19 by my math until the end of next season. We're in May. So, yeah, and I think that is an advantage considering his overseas experience. He is heavily experienced from playing overseas. He's been playing for this U18 team for a couple seasons now. He was the 2025 Next Gen Euro League. He won the next 2025 Next Gen Euro League with the U18 BC Zalgiris team that he plays for. And he did have some pretty interesting quotes that I do want to get into in terms of his fit in the Big 12. Because I saw a person specifically, it was just one person, so it's not like everybody was saying this, but I saw one person, their response to his highlight tape was, I'm seeing Philly B, right? And I don't see Philly B when I look at Maksim Brnovic. I think maybe what they're getting at is I see a lankier, more slight-looking foreign player, and I'm scared that they're going to come over and be soft in this conference that we play in now. I don't think that's going to be a problem with Maksim Brnovic. I really don't. Is he going to be as physical as a Tobe Awaka, as maybe a Mo Krivas? No. But he has been dealing with physicality for a long time now. Excuse me. And he said that, quote, I would say that going to Lithuania for the first time and playing 2 seasons of senior basketball made me tougher. He went on to say that Lithuanian basketball is widely known for being very physical and competitive. And I think that this is something that, if you're Arizona's staff, is a huge, I'll say, selling point for him, is that there's familiarity between him and Krivas, obviously, as he played with his younger brother. There's some cultural familiarity there with, coming up through the Lithuanian system, having some familiarity for the culture and the country and the style of play and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's some already downloaded information there, but just the toughness that he does play with. I think, when you're watching him play, yes, he looks closely. He does have some good muscle mass to him, and he uses his body control very well, especially around the rim when he's trying to finish. He's not really moved off of his spot very often in terms of just getting shoved around out there. And I do think that a guy that his game is not necessarily as predicated on pure physicality as maybe a more traditional power forward would be. So I think he's plenty physical enough to come over into the Big 12. And then last note that I had, for who is this guy kind of stuff is, and this is another huge thing for coming over and being a part of this team that's trying to compete at a high level. He's the first foreign-born captain of that Zalgiris youth team, ever. It's not first time in 10 years. No, ever that they've had a foreign-born captain on this team. And so I think that is something that's huge in terms of his maturity, his leadership, and his ability to lead on the court with his play, but also off the court with his vocality. And now we talked about why is that important? Because you're losing Jaden Bradley, you're losing Tobe Awaka, you're losing Anthony Delorso, you're losing a ton of senior leadership on this team. So you're going to need guys that are willing to step up and willing to help lead through those valleys of the season, through the dog days of the season, and some of the maybe rougher points. I think that is, as Glenn says, you cannot be a captain if you're not physical or at least mentally tough. You have to lead by example and lead with your words if you're going to be a captain. That's a huge green flag. I mean, flashing green light everywhere with that little tidbit. What was your kind of first impression of Maksim Brnovic, Damon?
I mean, definitely seems like an intriguing player. I think anytime that you get these guys that are playing at the, kind of the upper adult levels of the sport, right? The professional ranks, like they're a little bit more ready to go than potentially, someone that is, solely coming up from the youth ranks. What I will say though, Kevin, is that I think that while, he's saying that the Lithuanian game is very physical and he thought that like really helped him improve. I do think that there is a little bit of a buffering period with a lot of these guys that Arizona brings in, especially the big men, for them to get to the level of physicality. And he's not like a conventional big man. He's not Krivas. He's more of a forward. He's a 3.5, right? Like he's kind of a small forward, power forward, tweener. But
he's like a big three.
Yeah,
huge
exactly.
Three.
Yeah, big 3, small 4, kind of one of those two. Maybe at the pro level, the 3 is maybe his best shot if he
I'm
can
just saying
athletically
he's a big 3
hang.
because he's 6'10" out there and can dribble, pass, shoot. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I feel like he's just a jumbo small forward.
No, I know. And I'm saying that
his
his best path to making the NBA is probably at that, right? Like probably not at power forward.
Yeah,
so we'll see what he has in his bag in that regard. But I do think that like, a guy like Henry Vasar needed a little bit of time to acclimate and get right. And then once he became a physical player, once he got up to the level of physicality here in college basketball in the Big 12, he was fantastic, right? Like once he got ready to stand and bang with people. Same thing with Mo Krivas. He wasn't very good that first season when he was starting, and I mean, it was hurting the team. We were talking about it on the show. And then he shows up, he adds physicality, adds weight, and realizes I'm the biggest guy on the floor at all times, unless a Daymara is on the court. And it looked like it this past season, right? And so I think that while that physicality, maybe he has a leg up on some, most European players, I do think that there might be a little bit of a feeling out process getting to that level, the requisite level of physicality that the Big 12 deploys, basically top to bottom. Even the worst teams are very physical teams, right? That try to play a very like strict style of defense. So yeah, I mean, I like the player. I like the the profile that we're bringing in here. Don't know what to expect necessarily from moment one. I feel like the Karchenkovs of the world are few and far between when you're bringing in these international players.
I think that is something like I want to talk more about in the next segment in terms of how he fits and what he looks like on next year's team. Because I think when we were describing like what kind of player he is, and even when you're watching his like games and watching him play, he kind of screams like starter in a lot of ways. Oh, you're telling me he can catch and shoot the 3? He can operate the pick and roll at 6'10". He makes great decisions out of the pick and roll. He can pass. He has some ferocity to his game as well. He averages 2+ steals a game. Like, you're telling me this guy's not going to start? And I do think that, if the rumor is true that Arizona's kind of bringing him in to be first big off the bench, kind of, playing a bunch of minutes, but off maybe being a bench role to start, maybe he earns a start later, whatever. That does kind of make me think, okay, what does the staff want more of from him before they're willing to kind of offer him that starting role? Because, you watch the tape and you think, okay, I don't know why this guy wouldn't start, right? And I think that maybe that is a situation where they're talking to him, they're watching him play, and they think, okay, maybe he needs a little bit of Big 12 seasoning before we're giving him starter minutes and starter role on a team that's trying to compete for the Big 12 title, right? Maybe he needs to kind of get some feel, get his sea legs under him, so to speak, and kind of play his way into that. I think that might be, one of the reasons why. Before we go to our second break, Glenn in the chat says, what are his rebounding averages, or is he more of a point forward? I would describe him as more of a point forward. Right. We talked about this before with some other guys. It might be the way he's being employed out there, like the way he's being deployed, rather, I should say. Maybe they don't want him crashing as much because he's so good at other things on the perimeter. However, I'm not going to get up here and say I see like crazy rebounding chops out of him, especially on paper. You look back through, his last, 30 games, the most he'll rebound is maybe 6. But on average, he's probably 3 or 4. For the U18's Algiris team, he averages 3.5 rebounds a game, but or at least that's all time. This past season, he averaged 3.3 rebounds, but he's giving you 4.5 assists. So he is a lot more of a point forward. So I do doubt that he has like glass cleaning, in his game. Maybe they can get him to, get that rebounding up to 5 or 6 on average. But I do think we're looking at more of a point forward here. And that honestly might be enough to maybe get him out of that starting lineup for Arizona, because we know how physical Tommy Lloyd likes to be, and we know how important rebounding was to last year's team's success, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, he could maybe, like, I know he didn't really do much for Arizona, but like, could this be a guy that plays like somewhat like Paulius Morauskas, and I'm not saying he's going to be the starter, but I'm saying, like, could he come off the bench and, early on when he's maybe not quite at like his peak level, come off the bench and show flashes of his like really kind of elite, ridiculous skill set that he has, being such a, tall guy with a well-rounded game. And, then as he maybe progresses into college basketball, or, has a year under his belt and starts his sophomore year or something, then he might go to the NBA, right? But like, I do think that like maybe this is a guy that really could be an intriguing, interesting player that is maybe like your 6th, 7th man of sorts that comes off the bench and has some tools in his bag that are really intriguing for especially a bench player, and definitely like the type of player that you need to round out an elite team. So who knows? Maybe he wins the starting job and starts at power forward. It's certainly wide open for him, and feels like he could absolutely do that. He has the size and ability to do so. But I also have seen Mike Luke, who was first on this player being brought into Arizona as well, say that the plan is for him to come off the bench for right now. Yeah. So for me, like, if he's a bench player, I think this is a fantastic pickup. Ooh, Kevin.
I mean, if he's a bench player, like you mentioned, the tools he brings to his game, and I do want to get into his skill set a little bit later. Aaron in the chat saying, is this confirmed? Mike Luke was putting out this weekend that he is signed and he is a Wildcat. There has been no other confirming reports out there at this time. So if you're out there looking for that on the internet, you're not going to find it. It's trust in Mike Luke right now, just like you trust in Tommy in a lot of ways. But yeah, he's saying he's signed and he's a Wildcat. And that is the reporting out there.
Trust in Tommy, trust in Mike Luke. That's the motto to live by.
I mean, hey, if he's the only guy out there reporting it, you kind of have to like let live and let faith, right? You're like, hey,
absolutely.
He's putting himself out there for that one, so he's either right or he's not right. So I think that look, is he confirmed? Not necessarily yet, but it's moving in that direction. Glenn says, how is his athleticism? Does he run heavy or does he glide? Look, I think I wouldn't say he glides, right? I feel like that would be a Kevin Thomas-ism of getting on here and being like, this guy's a freak athlete, when I'm really just saying he has some decent hops. I wouldn't say he glides, but he's definitely more athletic than your average power forward in terms of speed and in terms of agility. The vert is good enough to, get some great downhill dunks with one hand going off of one. But I think his lateral quickness and agility is way more important right now than what he does vertically, especially like the way he plays. He's in passing lanes, like, I don't know how to describe it, but like jumping into inbounds plays with his lateral quickness and speed. They're thinking they have enough space to get the pass through. He closes that distance way faster than they anticipate. So I do think his athleticism is a plus to his game. He's not jumping out the gym necessarily, but he's quick, he's agile, and he uses it intelligently. We're going to keep talking about
Can I just say that when I likened him to Paulius, it was more in his frame and the way that like Paulius is not like a true 4, right? Like he's a little bit more of a scoring 4, a guy who's going to be on the perimeter, a guy who, has a more athleticism than like your typical conventional guy who's down low, right? And I think that's kind of maybe not more athleticism, but he's more agile and fleet of foot than your typical power forward. He's a little bit more of that in-between type of guy. So I guess, not saying he's these players, but I'm thinking more along the lines of like what we were discussing Milan Momcilovic as, that 3.5 that, you're probably going a little bit small at the 4, but he could play it with Krivas because Krivas is a Lithuanian giant. Or, Paulius is kind of similar in that regard, given that he's, maybe not like a big, powerful power forward, but he's, a little bit more of a perimeter player. So that's kind of where I was going with that.
Let's keep talking more Brnovic after this. We'll be right back. Play and win with our friends over at the Arizona Lottery. And look, Route 66, at the 100th anniversary Scratchers, Damon, they're must-see TV. There's over $13.5 million in prizes, over $4 million in $100 prizes. So if you rack up a couple of those hundreds, you're well on your way to that $4 million total. And you have a chance to win up to 10 times your prize. That's right. If you get a $100 scratcher, that might turn into a $1,000 scratcher. You never No. And I will say, Damon, that, the Ultimate Riches, they do not stop there. You can also win up to $3.5 million with the Ultimate Riches scratchers, over $46.1 million in total prizes. But with this one, the Ultimate Riches, why do they call it Ultimate Riches, Kevin? Well, with the Route 66 scratchers, you can get up to 10 times your prize. But with the Ultimate Riches scratchers, you can get up to 50 times your prize. So make sure to start your journey with the Ultimate Riches and Route 66 scratchers from the Arizona Lottery. And yeah, they could be your route to riches, just like the route to 66 is our route to highway culture in this country. Play for top prizes of over $3.5 million with our friends over at Arizona Lottery.
Kevin, I'll tell you about my route to having a good time during this FIFA World Cup 26. It's going to be with our friends over at Michelob Ultra. Guys, I am getting locked and loaded with Michelob Ultra. Of course, going to grab a 30-pack, a 24-pack, maybe, a nice little 12-piecer if I'm just sitting there on the couch alone. But I know that the entire time that this World Cup is ongoing, Michelob Ultra is going to be right there, right next to you, elevating that experience. Guys, they say that the same grit that is found in the U.S. men's national soccer team that gets them to the world's biggest stage is found and brewed right here in these Michelob Ultra cans that is based out of St. Louis, Missouri, may I add. But the entire planet's going to be locked and loaded on what is going on at the FIFA World Cup. And Michelob Ultra is the official beer sponsor of the U.S. men's national team. So for every match, every goal, every play on the world's biggest stage, crack open something superior. Michelob Ultra, proud sponsor of the U.S. men's national soccer team and official beer sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 26. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2026. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer. Kevin?
St. Louis, Missouri. Whoa. We're back on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Leave a like if you have not done so already. And yes, we probably will need to get him a Sonoran hot dog IV, Max. I am totally all about that. Lost Highway saying everyone has insane highlight videos. CD was a beast. And that is true. But it's more about what tools you're able to showcase on the court than like what highlights you're able to produce, right? Like the highlight tapes are cool, but are you able to impact winning for your team? And that is something that Brnovic has absolutely been able to do. And are you more than just like a role player on the team with a couple nice highlights? Or do you have a bunch of nice highlights because you're impacting the game all the time? And I think that is Maksim Brnovic's reason for having these highlights.
Well,
right?
And these guys, right, a lot of times are the, elite level athletes for where they are because most of the, the elites of the elites are already in the United States, right? Like that's where the world's premier basketball happens. So
we thought until USA U18 lost to Canada the other night. So we thought maybe we're cooked as a country,
Canada's got some talent though.
They do. We got balled by a 5'8" dude though. You know what? We can talk about more of that at the end of the show, but you know what I mean? Like, man.
But yeah, I mean, everyone's highlight videos do look a little bit better when you're looking at them versus the European competition because, they've weeded out the elite athletes for the most part, right? But yeah, I mean, this is, he feels like a guy that, definitely his skill set will translate to a Tommy Lloyd system in particular. I'm excited about it. I mean, obviously haven't watched his tape or anything. I'm not watching full games of, Zalgiris ball, but I do think that this guy looks intriguing for sure.
I'm starting to think we actually should become Zalgiris Kaunas fans. Kaunas?
That feels like becoming like a Bayern fan when you're trying to choose a Bundesliga team. You know what I mean?
But it's different.
You just show up and say yeah, I want the top dog.
But it's different mostly because we have a former Wildcat that starts for the senior team. Our starting center's little brother is on the junior team. Our newest potential signee is also on the junior team. It feels like we continue to have reasons to come back to Zalgiris Kaunas. Maybe we should just full-time watch Zalgiris Kaunas. This could be a Zalgiris Kaunas podcast. You know what I mean?
We're doing post-game shows at freaking 4 a.m.
What time is it there? What time is it?
They're probably 10 hours ahead. 11.
Kaunas, Lithuania. Ooh, it's 1 a.m. I don't know what the difference in that is.
So I was right on the money.
Yeah, you kind of were. Wow. That's
10 hours ahead.
Knowledge. Elite ball knowledge. Now, I do want to ask the chat to leave their thoughts on his fit with next year's team. As we talked about, Mike Luke was putting out there that they're bringing him in to be a bench piece, a depth piece, guy that comes in, contributes off the bench. Maybe next year is your starting power forward. Not next year upcoming, but the year after is your starting power forward, and maybe get some NBA sniffs from scouts as well. Chad, I want your ideas on how he fits in with next year's team, if you see that as well. I will say there was a question about his shooting, and whether or not Yeah, Frank says, does he have a pretty stroke like Polyus, though? And I actually think that his jump shot is very nice, very fluid for a dude that's 6'10". And, there was some back and forth in the chat about whether or not he actually moves like a guard. Ultimately, it's semantics, right? Of like what he moves like. It's how you interpret that like thing. But I do think he moves way more like a guard than he does like a traditional power forward. And I think that that is something that if you can have a 6'10" dude that can pass and operate the pick and roll, and you have JJ Mandequit coming off the bench, like that is a decision-making duo that I am fully supportive of. And I also think that if in the minutes that he would be playing with the starters, a big on big pick and roll with Krivas and with Brnovic, I'm excited about it. I was watching a play. There's this guy, Coffee and Sets, that does like TikToks and Instagram reels, where he like in the morning he gets his little coach's clipboard out and he teaches you a set while he has his morning coffee. There was a set that I was literally watching yesterday that it made me think of Maksim Brnovic. And I forget what the name of it was, but forgive me, but it was from like the Dan Hurley coaching tree, where pretty much you have a center man at the free throw line making passing decisions as they send a double at him. And I think if you want to play Brnovic in that sense, where he can kind of be like a decision maker in the pick and roll, like if you don't have Holt out there, for example, and maybe you want to give Mandequit a possession off, like I think that is something that you can definitely do with Brnovic. And so if he can't rebound, but he can shoot the three at a reliable level in the catch and shoot, he can pass, he can operate the pick and roll, he can also roll in the pick and roll, he can pop in the pick and roll, he's in the passing lanes. I've seen him block some shots as well. Like I am very excited about the tools that he brings to the table. The only thing that's kind of making me pump my brakes is the rumor that he'd be coming off the bench. So I do wonder, like, what is the I don't know, the boil on the game of Maksim Brnovic that would keep him out of the starting lineup, and what more do they want for, like, another part of that Mike Luke report, so to speak, right? It was a series of tweets, but was that the starter would be more coming down the line, so that would be more time to wait for a starting power forward. My question then,
Glenn's favorite.
yes, exactly. My question is then, like, and maybe I'll throw back to you here, Damon, is like, if you're Tommy Lloyd, what more are you looking for a starting power forward, right? And I know that obviously we discussed this guy's not the perfect player, and there's some question marks yet still. But if you're getting him in, knowing day one you're bringing him in as a bench guy, and maybe he can earn the role, what more would you want? Like, what are you looking for out there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to look at the current roster, I think, is the way that you start that out. You say, what is the team missing necessarily? So I think Krivas and Karchenkov, you can assume that both will up their scoring averages and become more well-rounded offensive players on top of the elite defense that they already provide. But they're also the type of players that don't need to be the focal point of the offense necessarily, right? So, I think Derek Dixon is going to get his shots up, but his shot diet is going to look very perimeter-based, and, especially with how awful he is at finishing at the rim. Like, he's almost like a different part of this conversation. I think Mandequit, he's obviously like that pure playmaking point guard that you're bringing in the building. Holt's probably going to be the offensive driver, but I do think you could bring in a guy who provides a little bit of a scoring floor, Kevin. Like, I think that, someone that is going to give us double digits, 10 points, 11 points, 12 points by getting a good amount of post touches. And then as we continue to talk about on this show, like, I think it has to be a two-way player, a guy who contributes on the rebounding margin, on the boards, adds a layer of physicality, right? Like, I do think that ideally for a Tommy Lloyd team, the power forward is also a guy who supplements the center's physicality and adds to it and allows the team to, like, be elite from a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
And so maybe, the piece that we brought in this weekend is potentially, not quite there at that physicality threshold that Tommy Lloyd would ideally want. So I would think that the starter might be more along those lines of like a true power forward rather than that like 3.5 big 3 small 4 type of player that we're talking about right now.
And you referenced like our Friday show where we were talking about what are we looking for in a power forward as a program. Lost Highway brings up our number one point of affordability, right? 18-year-old European players most certainly coming in are like definitely less than $1 million, right? And I think Tommy Lloyd kind of mentioning when he was at Big 12 spring meetings about how, sure, like we can go out and get a ton of dudes in the NIL and spend a ton of money. But also, we can kind of try to play a little bit of Moneyball. I know Damon is mad at me because I have yet to see that movie, and he's recommended it many times. But like, you can kind of play a little bit of Moneyball of like, would you rather have the super expensive guy and then maybe cut down on what you want for depth a little bit later, or do you want to go with a couple of dudes for the one position and kind of platoon it a little bit? And I do wonder if that's kind of how Arizona is trying to replace some all-time talent at the program with kind of a platoon, knowing you're not going to get another Koa Pete 1-to-1. Maybe we can get two guys that do everything that two guys that do half of what he does can come together and maybe do what he does, right? I think that's kind of what you're looking at here, and then you do save a little bit of money as well. Damon, I want to hit our final ad break here before we wrap up today's show. We're going to finish up talking about Maksim Brnovic, and we also have some news and notes on the other side of this. Stick around, leave a like, and please, please, please do not go anywhere. I got to talk to the people about our show. And if you like our show or dislike our show or feel indifferent towards our show, we thank you for at least watching, and we want to hear from you. That's right, from you. We're always looking to improve our podcast, and I definitely want to better understand like what people want from us. And your feedback helps us shape the content that you love and make it even better. It only takes a few minutes, but it makes a big impact here at PHNX. So take a moment, head over to gophnx.com/contest. That's gophnx.com/contest and let your voice be heard. Respondents have a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card to show that we appreciate you. Yeah, thanks for being a part of PHNX. Head over to gophnx.com/contest to handle that.
Go, please check out that survey and let us know how help us help you. Right, Kevin? That's what the point of the survey is.
Help you, help us, help everyone, help the pod, help
I don't know.
Kaunas?
That's too complicated of a math equation for me. I'll tell you what's not complicated though, Kevin. Getting your Don Julio out and ready for the FIFA World Cup, because
simple.
It is simple, and it also, it's more of just a staple. Do you want to make some margaritas? Do you want to have some shots? Do you want maybe like a Paloma or something? I mean, it's so versatile. You can do so much with your friends over at Don Julio 1942, the premier top shelf tequila that you will find on the market, guys. Don Julio is unbelievable stuff. You can see there the trophy, one of the 3 special edition World Cup bottles that they have purposed and have selling at liquor stores near you for the FIFA World Cup. It's unbelievable. We're going to be giving away one of these bottles to our winning podcast here at PHNX Sports. And I regret to inform everybody that Kevin Thomas absolutely let us down in regards to selecting our teams.
We'll get to that in a second.
We will get to that in a second here. It's not slanderous. It's the truth. Unfortunately, you're pulling a Sorsby on me right now, Kevin, and saying, well, listen, it's not my fault, even though it clearly was my fault. But guess what? You can go ahead. Maybe I'll just have Kevin, he'll owe me one of these bottles. I'll tell you what's going to happen. The Merc podcast is going to win. Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden, Kevin's going to still have the bottle after he screwed me out of getting the bottle. And he's going to be living it up with Erica and Gil and Steven, and they're going to be having the greatest time of all time, pouring shots in each other's mouths. And Damon's just going to be sad, tequila-less, but that's okay. I might just go buy myself some Don Julio in the meantime anyways, Kevin. It's so much fun. Don Julio going to be helping us with our watch parties as well. We got 6 watch parties scheduled from June 11th through June 25th. So guys, check out gophnx.com/events for more details on how you can get involved in those watch parties. But shout out our friends at Don Julio for elevating this World Cup experience. I know that Don Julio 1942 is always my good old reliable when it comes to alcohol. Whether you're at your favorite spot or stocking up from home, make it a Don Julio 1942.
Make it a Don Julio 1942. And we're going to be talking more Maksim Brnovic as well on tomorrow's show, Damon. And we're also going to be discussing Team USA U18 getting upset by Team Canada, because I have some thoughts that I would like to get off. But today, we're almost at the hour mark, and so I think we should end today's show with what Sam is referencing in the chat, what you were referencing during that Don Julio read. It is a truly World Cup season, and we did our picks because we were doing a competition for the trophy. I think is it behind you, Damon? I can't see from here.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I don't have the gloves.
Oh, you can't touch it without the gloves. Bad juju. The competition has started. That'd be bad juju. So
can you see it?
No, we can't see it. We can't see it. But trust us, the trophy is there. But I will say this: we did our World Cup pick. So each podcast here at PHNX gets 6 teams, and each team is now representative of your podcast, and whoever wins it wins the Don Julio bottle. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. We did our picks here for the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm going to show them here now. Laugh along with us, cry along with us maybe, or celebrate here. We'll talk about it after. Watch our picks.
Kicking things off here for our PHNX World Cup Challenge. Got to get some good teams. Kevin, I'm going to let you start it off.
Okay.
You got the magic touch.
All right, no looking. Little mix, little mash. Do I reveal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Iran.
Wow. What a way to kick things off here.
Yeah.
Number 2, Croatia.
Okay, Luka.
And it fits the tweet I sent you yesterday.
Of all our old guys for
Yeah,
Croatia.
crazy old
running it
team.
Back. World Cup number
Successful
10.
team.
Austria.
Oh, man. That's not the best.
2 countries that don't really play soccer like that.
Germany. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Come on. Come on.
Kevin, give me something good. I need something good
Allez les
here.
bleus.
You can't give me 3 duds.
Croissant et beignet.
You can't give me 3 duds. What is it? What is it? It sounds bad.
We're pairing.
Oh,
We got Iran.
man.
Allez les
Wow.
bleus, please. Oh,
Tunisia. I mean, it's a terrible list of 6 teams.
Come on, man.
It's a terrible list of 6 teams.
All right, Germany.
We are Germany.
Germany.
We are Germany.
Ivan Karchenkov.
Ivan Karchenkov.
We are you and you are
Absolute
us.
Karchenkov.
Man, cut the camera.
Look.
We
okay.
have one team, Kevin. We have one team.
We really do. We do. I will say, right? This was my reaction as well, Glenn, of like Damon. This is so Damon and everyone around me, which is fair, is saying that it's my fault that I picked some bad teams and it's all Kevin and Kevin jinxed us and all this stuff. What if Damon jinxed me, chat? What if Damon saying you got the magic touch before I've ever even touched a piece of paper jinxed us?
I'm trying to speak it into existence, Kevin. Damn. Sorry. You know what? That's on me. I won't believe in my boy anymore. I tried to believe in my boy. I said, you know what?
You did.
Full trust. Full trust with this podcast right here. This is the trust fall.
Yes.
And what did you do, Kevin? You let me land.
Yeah.
It wasn't just I didn't just fall on the ground. I fell off of a cliff to my death.
And you landed in Iran at the National Football Facility, right? And then you went to Austria. And then you landed in Iraq. And now we're just rooting for Germany. You know what I mean? But yeah, as Leah said, like it was really fun to do that. Although I do wish we got some better teams. You know, I was trying to manifest the French team by speaking some French, and that didn't work, and nothing worked.
Well, I'm telling you, man, I want to get Yvonne on to talk a little World Cup with him before the World Cup, or like at the beginning stages of the World Cup, because we need him to know that it's me and him and you, I guess. I mean, we can throw you into it as well, but I might just tell Yvonne that this guy's trying to pull us down at the seams. He's trying to destroy the franchise here, Yvonne. But we have one team. We will ride with them. Germany forever.
Yeah, man, we do. Max continues his run of the funniest chats every day.
I mean, you couldn't pick, with that last pick from Kevin was like you couldn't have any other team that would have been more funny in that circumstance. I don't know, man. We have 2 teams actually. Like I know I'm joking. Germany probably the only chance of winning.
Yeah.
But Croatia is a good squad. They're not going to embarrass us. I don't think. Like
they're
Croatia
old.
They've made 2 semifinal World Cups. I think before this one, they did not make it to the last one, but before that, they've made 2 of 3 semifinals in a row.
Didn't they make a final?
Huh?
Didn't they make a final in 2018?
That might have been the Euro.
Okay. I just remember Luka and Kramaric and all of those dudes.
I think they did make that final.
They were going crazy. Luka had did he win the Ballon d'Or that year?
Yeah, it was France-Croatia in the final.
Did he win the Ballon d'Or that year? I'm trying to flex some football knowledge.
I think he did, yeah, because that was the year that he had that outside boot pass against Chelsea.
Yeah.
That just lives rent-free in my
I'm sorry
head
about
forever.
that. But I will say, that was the year that he was just going crazy and literally put the whole country on his back. It was unbelievable.
Very true.
We're gonna need that again. And just like I said in the short, cut the camera. It's been a good show. We got to cut the cameras here a little bit.
We need that from him again, Kevin, but
We
8
do.
years in the future. That's the tough part.
Yeah. Ivan Karchenkov. What'd it do? How do we get Ivan Karchenkov at a watch party? to watch a Germany
That
game.
would be fire.
That would be incredible.
I will say Austria, not terrible. Not a terrible team. They're not good. They're probably not going to advance very far. Might make it out of the group stages. Same thing with Iran. Iran has a decent little group. They have a good FIFA World Cup ranking internationally. I think that they could make it out of the group stages. I just don't think that they're going to make it very far once they get through the knockout stages. We have one team that has a legitimate chance of winning. Unfortunately, Kevin gave us a big fat nothing burger on this one. I needed one team, Kevin. I needed one team out of you. That's all I was asking for. I didn't want 0 for 3. I don't expect 3 for 3. But one team, also investigate Espo. I need everyone to go to our PHNX Sports Twitter account. Follow the account, please, if you're not doing so already. But also check out those squads that every podcast has listed. Somehow Southwest Bias, who just so happens to be run by the boss of the entire company, got 5 pot 1 teams out of his 6 teams, Kevin. So if you're not familiar with how this works, they do the pot drawing and they use rankings to decipher, what teams could be selected in each pot so that it's not just Brazil, France, Germany, and, England all in one World Cup group when it's all said and done. And he picked 5 of 6 pot 1 teams. I think we got 1 to put it up against each other. So investigate Espo, man, because something fishy is going on there.
And Leah really outing us here, saying the funniest part is they went first, so they had the pick of every
That's
team.
the part that hurts. Because I'm sitting here and my D-back squad sucks. It's worse than the squad that we got because we don't even have a Germany, right? So I basically have one chance to win this bottle after I've been crying and complaining about how I need to win the bottle because I have multiple chances. What was left for me and Derek for PHNX D-backs was a travesty. A travesty. There were 6 slips left in there, and I pulled out all 6 of them, and they were just all duds. Nothing I could do there. Kevin had his full pick of the litter, and he's picking out duds.
I wanted France so bad. There's no country I wanted to root for more than France in this World Cup. In terms of actually trying to win the Don Julio bottle, come on. But for now, we root for Germany.
I'm going to be in Spain and France during the World Cup. How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
I might have to hit up some watch parties out there. You
should.
Where are the people watching at? What courtyard do they have cameras just zoomed in on like they do when they show these World Cup celebrations back home? This is what the people back home are doing. And I just want to be there in Barcelona, just in the middle of the town square, and then people be like, is that? It can't be. What's he doing in a Spain jersey in the middle of the crowd? Living 100%. Life. Living life is the answer.
Yeah. Leah also saying I have a good shot, though, because Mercury Podcast does have Spain.
And Leah, as I said, Kevin is going to win this bottle with Erica, with Gil, with Steven, and yet he's the reason that I will not be winning at all because of his despicable selections in teams. It feels so personal. It feels I know it's random, but Kevin, it feels on purpose. The way that it played out. Oh, yeah, Damon, we're going to win the bottle. And then goes in. Oh, would you look at that? España. Oh, shocking. Who could have possibly selected that team? Kevin could.
I think I've said this to you off air. Objectively, the best thing for our show's content is for one of us to win the bottle and the other guy to not have the bottle. And for
That's
one
what's
guy
going to happen.
To hold it over the other guy.
That's
and maybe have it in
what's
the
going
shot
to happen
every show. And the other guy just can't acknowledge it or touch the bottle. We'll see how it goes. But that has been a wonderful edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast. I expect each and every individual here in this chat to be tuned in tomorrow at 2 p.m. when we discuss even more Brnovic and even more Arizona Wildcats targets, Aiden Diggs, Darius Wabbington included. Damon, anything else before we get on out of here for today?
No, not really. Glenn, I don't know the exact price of the bottle, but I think it's somewhere around $120, $150. It's pretty expensive.
There's 3 versions, though.
There are 3 versions, and there's a smaller version if you don't want to, spend a bunch of money. But this bottle is huge.
It is huge.
That's why
it'll last you.
It'll last you a very long time, unless the Mercury crew gets their hands on it, and then it's probably going to last about one night. I'm just asking to get invited to the party, bro.
Yeah.
Please?
Yeah.
Please?
Yeah.
You're going to take the bottle from me and then you're not going to let me have any of it? That seems a little bit messed up.
Hey, man, we'll see. We'll see what we can negotiate.
I'm going to come back from Europe, Kevin, and you're going to be like, ooh, sorry, bro. The bottle's already it's emptied out. We drank it all.
Glenn in the chat saying ASU versus U of A for Don Julio bottle for basketball, 2-on-2 between us and Totri and Eric. me and Totri are on the same men's league team right now. I don't want that bad chemistry between us. I don't want a Don Julio bottle to stand between me and we called him TJ McConnell. That's how good he was playing yesterday. We said his comp was TJ McConnell. That's what Totri was playing like. I said they couldn't say that on the ASU pod. I can say it on the U of A pod. He's TJ damn McConnell out there in the pickup. So yeah,
I think the ASU pod would win.
Yeah, I think they would too. Respectfully to us, I think that they would win.
Basketball is one of my not my greatest sport. I do like, I haven't tested it yet, but Kevin, I do think my jump shot probably has improved since the mini hoop has become a thing.
I thought that it would help me with my form. I shot one time yesterday in the men's league game. Well, it was on purpose.
I take it didn't go well.
One shot as well. Okay.
One shot means that like we hit the top of the backboard and like we were like, oh, never again.
No. What happened was I like to pass. I like to rebound. I like to be a connector, right? Because I know my role. We got Gil, former Division I Demon Deacon. We have Ayrton, who's dunking on dudes through the legs. Hey. Right, we have Noah, who had the ninja headband on. He's picking up dudes 94 feet.
Shane, who's like the biggest guy in the world.
He's shooting the three. I know my role is to not take touches from those dudes. So my job is to set good screens, play acceptable defense, hustle hard, and move the rock. You know what I mean? Had a couple assists, had a couple rebounds. We are up by like 40 or 50 in this game yesterday. The guys are like, Kevin, you have to shoot. You have yet to shoot in this game. And I'm like, no, I'm past. We're moving the rock. And I took a shot. I take back everything I ever said about Kobe's jumper. Yeah, I take back everything I ever said about how flat it was, about how he didn't have no lift under it. Mine might have been a straight line from my hand to the bottom of the...
Dude, the thing is like, will it help with this mini hoop that we have here in the office? Will it help, given that we're taking a lot of shots, seeing the ball go through the basket and getting like the right proper touchdown on like what the shot is going to entail? Or will it screw up our arc of our shot because the ceiling is so low comparatively that you can't get a proper like arc of a basketball up? Sounds like the latter for you,
My form
Kevin.
is better. My form is better, but the actual shot, I need to get a couple reps. I didn't get to warm up because I was lost, and it was a whole thing.
We'll work
Robert, my man in the chat. I was saying that earlier. We were trying to come up with comps for our game, and I was like, yo, I was kind of feeling like Kenny Lofton out there. You know what I mean? A little Kenny Lofton Jr. The jersey, the little penny jersey. I'm a big dude. The penny jersey was a little bit small on my... So I was running around like feeling like a little Kenny Lofton out there. I felt good moving the ball. Leah says I was big on the boards. Appreciate you, Leah. Leah was in the building, by the way. Man, I will say this. I will say this much because I did tweet that I had a Tony Snell performance because I thought it was funny to be like 0.0 rebounds, 0 steals, 0 assists, 28 minutes. I got like 3 or 4 rebounds. You know what I mean? I got like maybe 1 or 2 assists. And I will say, Damon, podcast moment with you in the chat, I was worried about what the physicality would be like because I haven't played basketball in a minute. So I haven't like taken a bump in a minute. You know what I mean? They're probably their second best player. Tries to back me down. Not going nowhere. Nowhere.
We're running back up the court. Your chest into him.
We're running back up the court. Gil's like, hey, good wall up, Kev. I'm like, real shit, bro. Real shit. We're good. Man.
That's got to feel good coming from Gil.
Yeah, it did feel good coming from Gil. Cryptic says, just join. Was it mentioned if there has been an official announcement for Brnovic right now? Nothing official out there. No, as of right now, it is just Mike Luke's report. No official corroboration from either the school or like Jonathan Gavoni or any of that stuff. So yeah, that's why we're talking pickup basketball at the end of the show. Thank you for joining us, though, Cryptic. Make sure to go back and watch the actual content we did on today's show, not just talking about my men's league game where I came off the bench and did more player coaching than I did playing. Max says, I broke my wrist playing Kate Reese at the Rec in college, and I've been taking a shot.
That's a tough one. At least she's like a legitimately good hooper.
That's awesome, though.
My boy Kevin, who was up here in the chat earlier today, gets fried by my entire friend group because one time they went to go play pickup at the Rec, and Kevin had to guard the one woman that was playing, and she ate him up, like cooked him. Was not on the U of A women's basketball team. Was not a 6'3", power forward like Kate Reese is or whatever. Like we're talking like. She was just like hitting J's in his face.
Yeah. Yeah, pulled a little muscle in my back, was stretching that out for like an hour after the game. We're good today, though, so I'm not truly washed. You know what I mean? A little bit of stretching after the fact.
Yeah, 5 years from now, you're not recovering from that.
We got to get that right. It's like I said, it has been since college, since I played recreational basketball. We got to get back into the rhythm of things, pre-game stretching, post-game stretching. Man, I wish it was at a gym. I would hit the sauna after. Man, that would feel good. Putting up a cool 6 rebounds, 2 assists game, hitting the sauna. Ooh. Anyway, chat, it's been a wonderful AZ Wildcats podcast. Every Sunday we play men's league, so every Monday you'll be getting a men's league update out of me for the next month or so.
I'm sure.
Let's get out of here, though, Damon. It's been a fun show.
And it would only be right. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate everybody for watching this one, talking Arizona options on the international market, of course, and the fabric of the sport of all college athletics, but specifically college football crumbling as we know it. So I'm sure we'll keep you updated on all that. In the meantime, of course, follow me at Damon Dog. Follow him at Kevo Posts. Follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all socials except for TikTok, where we are at AZ Wildcats Pod. And we will be back tomorrow on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. right here, regularly scheduled showtime on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Like and subscribe on this video, and we'll catch you next time. Until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. I'm going to go work on my jumpers so that I don't look so embarrassing when I take a jumper in men's league next week.
We all silly like the mayor.